Let's talk about maybe an unloved area at the moment. I noticed you added Monday. I,
Hmm.
I I think this is a newer edition, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
This is the stock that dropped 30% after what seemed like fairly reasonable earnings. And we've kind of had this deep seek moment for software where a lot of leading names have sold off fairly aggressively across the summer. So could you talk about, why you added Monday, but also how you feel about this software setup and how you're positioning yourself with a lot of these names that are becoming much better values.
Yeah. I bought Monday, I think like around 171 or something like that, after the sell off. And I think Monday is fairly unique among higher growth software companies in that you can value it based on their free cash flow, even after you back out their stock comp. A lot of like these high growth software companies dilute shareholders like crazy. They issue tons of stock comp, and Monday is fairly disciplined by comparison. I think the stock currently trades at like 32 times its 2026 EV to FCF multiple after backing out their trailing stock comp, and that FCF estimate maybe could be too low, just given how well the company's executing, how well its earnings and FCF estimates have kept going higher. I think the stock got hit post earnings due to some worries about the impact of like Google algorithm changes on their organic traffic, on SEO, it feels a little overblown, given that they're still seeing 20% plus growth. They're still taking like share in the work management software market, particularly among larger businesses. And they're also like expanding more into like they're seeing growth in like CRM and service management software areas like that. So, it still seems like a quality growth story. And like I said, it's unique in terms of how you can value it even after backing out their stock comp. Then, as far as software in general, I feel like, yeah, it was kind of a deep seek moment in terms of the panic people had in terms of the fear, the impact AI and like vibe coding could potentially have on just software top line growth. I think it's partly due to a misreading of how sometimes people look at how software is sold. You just look at like how many for how long like open source software has been very popular, and yet you still have like major open source developers that do hundreds of millions or billions in revenue. You have companies like Red Hat and Elastic and so many others that just do a ton of revenue just from their even though like much of the code that they're distributing is available for free, just because enterprises want that support. They want the ecosystem that these companies provide. They want they need like these sort of assurances, that you're getting, that the software is reliable, and there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it. It's just because software, the cost of creating code and the cost of producing code is comes down, doesn't necessarily mean that software is going to be upended, I feel.